So today I want to share my story and discuss Gen Z activism and the power of social media. Did you know that 1/3 of Gen Zers say they regularly engage in activism for the issues they care about? That rate is almost 50% higher than the engagement of millennials. No offense, guys. That also means that there are nearly 500 million young activists running around in the world. I myself, and I'm sure others here in the crowd, are some of these people. Not only are there more activists in Gen Z than any other generation, but Gen Z and the next generation is shaping up to be the most influential cohort in history. We care deeply about social justice and human rights, and we are acting on our beliefs. Actually, a larger proportion of Gen Z cares about every issue across the board than any other age group in the United States. 66% of our activism is carried out online, meaning that our social spaces online need to be recognized as the future of organizing and activism. Despite that fact, and despite the trend of Americans shifting to consuming news and politics online more than ever, and despite the fact that most people in this day and age are now forming their political opinions online, 76% of people believe that all social media does is make people think they're making a difference when they actually aren't. I am here today as living proof of the real power of digital activism. I am here trying to be a symbol of hope for young people and human beings. I am here to show you that anyone's voice can change minds, lives, and even the world. Let's rewind to October 7th. I have to admit, like Latiria here said earlier, before October 7th, I knew nothing about Israel or Palestine. Zero. Nilch. I had an established platform, though, where I'd been speaking a bit about American politics over the course of 3 or 4 years. And when I saw my feed flooded with countless pro-Israel posts attacking the Palestinian people, I was caught off guard. But then I saw a pair of comments on my TikTok. Someone had said, it was this very simple comment, it said Google Nakba. It said Google open air prison. And so that's what I did. What I found changed the course of my life. What I found ignited a fire in my soul. I was shocked to learn of Israel's illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank, their violence against Palestinians, the displaced families and bulldozed homes. To me, it was reminiscent of the colonization of Native Americans by English settlers. The parallels were haunting, and it begged the question, why was this not being talked about in the context of October 7th? Why was nobody mentioning these facts? Nobody in the media, nobody online. I learned the true nature of the Gaza Strip. 2 million people locked behind a prison wall on a parcel of land. Half of them are children. Israel has 2 decades history of restricting their access to things like water and calories even. They aren't free. Israel even has a term for this, hafrada, meaning separation. The Jewish state bill allows the replacement of Palestinian households with Zionist ones. And it offered another layer to me as I'm learning about Zionism and the true nature of the state of Israel at this point in my life. And it was a turning point that made me question the morality of Israel's actions. Everything I was being fed by the Western media, by my content feed, was the total opposite of what I was learning about. It seemed like, and we know this, that the Western media is unanimous in trying to paint Israel as 100% in the right. I mean, you've seen the biased headlines over the past year. So, as I was discovering the truth, I was wondering, why was there a resounding silence about the struggle of the Palestinians? Nobody wanted to talk about it. So, a turning point in this personal journey of mine occurred when I received an email from a Zionist organization offering me $5,000 to pledge my support for Israel on live stream. This came a few days after October 7th. And also after I had posted a single video, I think this was one of my first videos about Palestine, comparing the parallels between American colonization and that of historic Palestine on my account. This was my first direct encounter with the Israeli propaganda machine, and it was an offer to trade truth for money. I was disgusted. My morals are not for sale. I grappled with the fear of speaking out. The headlines that day were filled with stories of the Harvard students getting blacklisted, doxxed. They had, I believe, a truck with the students' faces and names and I believe addresses going around campus, and Wall Street execs were going on to the media in the United States saying these kids are never being hired. And all because they signed a letter in support of Palestine. And this is what I was seeing. And I was asking myself, what if the same were to happen to me if I spoke out? And then I thought, why do I have this platform? Why have I been gifted with these skills if I do not use it to stand up for what is right? Especially when it feels like the hardest choice to make in the entire world. I knew I had to step up. Since that day, I've probably spent upwards of 10,000 hours in research, speaking, thinking about, crying for, and advocating for Palestine. There is not a single thing in the world I'm more passionate about. There's not a single topic I've studied more in my 18 years of living. The more videos I've made, the more I've learned of the extent of the oppression and subjugation of the Palestinian people. My content has reached over 500 million people in the last year. Imagine that. Me, at the time I was a senior in high school who knew nothing about Israel and Palestine. And I was able to accomplish so much. I was able to change so many minds. I was able to educate and enlighten so many millions of people, all with just my voice. And just to further debunk the thought that digital activism is not effective in real life, in the last 48 hours, myself and Rathbone here were able to raise a little over $16,000 for a man and his family in northern Gaza just through social media posts. And this is not a brag. This is, I'm trying to prove a point here. And another example of real action in the world is that over the summer I made, I think, just 2 short videos about a boycott app called No Thanks. If you don't have it, please download it. It's on iOS and Android. And it allows people to scan any product anywhere and know whether or not it's on the boycott for Israel list. And those 2 videos encouraged 500,000 people to download that app. Think about the long-term effect down the line of all those people who joined in boycotting, who were able to start boycotting because of technology, because of my videos. That is likely tens of millions of dollars that were stopped from supporting a genocide. We are in an age of digital activism, and we exist under the shadow of algorithms. They do act to suppress us, but I will say, in the end of the day, they serve capitalism over Zionism, and we can take advantage of that. Any person in the entire world has the opportunity now to be heard by the masses. Anyone's voice can ignite fires in other people's souls. You can resonate with others, and you can change the world. I'm glad I chose to stand with the Palestinians. Everything that has happened since that fateful day I spoke out has given me more resolve in my decision. Every word I hear out of the mouths of Ben Gvir and Smotrich, every hospital I've seen bombed out, raided, razed to the ground, every cry of a child in Gaza, every lie, every atrocity, the thousands of atrocities, every word of support, every word of love I receive is proof. Silence is not the answer. Our voices are the most powerful thing in the entire world, and it is our human duty to use it. It is my goal to inspire others to follow my steps and transforming themselves into activists. And I want to end this speech by quoting Audre Lorde, "The transformation of silence into language and action." This excerpt has inspired me greatly. And it is never without fear of visibility, of the harsh light of scrutiny, and perhaps judgment, of pain, of death. But we have lived through all of these already. In silence, accept death. And I remind myself all the time now that if I were to have been born a mute, or had maintained an oath of silence my whole life long for safety, I would still have suffered, and I would still die. I implore you, use your voices. Speak truth to your passions. Fight for what you care about. Feed that fire in your soul. What you will find is that you are not alone. Your voice is powerful, and you can and will change the world. You will be blessed. Your soul will be fulfilled. And I promise you, it will all be worth it. Change starts with you, with all of us, and especially with the youth and with the students. And with that, I want to cede my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.